So the first speaker of this session is Professor Dr. Pratibha Patankar, Madam, HOD, Department of Education, Shivaji University, Kolhapur. Her areas of research specialization include educational psychology, educational management, science education, inclusive education. She has extensive teaching experience to MEd and PhD students. She is a member of Management Council and Academic Council of the Shivaji University and is the coordinator of Equal Opportunity Cell of the Shivaji University with a life membership of AIAER. It is absolutely wonderful to have your presence in this session, madam. Over to you, dear madam.
Good afternoon, one and all. Respected Director, Dr. Lesunadhadi sir, Chairman, Dr. Vibhute sir, and also all the dignitaries and all the participants, of course, Saili and Godbole. Good afternoon again, one and all. So the theme given to me is Dropout and National Education Policy 20. So as a theme, dropout, any student who leaves education for any reason before completion of the program of studies without transferring to another. We know this definition of the dropout. So student dropout in higher education has been of great interest in various effects on students themselves, their family, higher education, institution, and country also. The dropout at higher educational level is very complex due to various causes associated with the students. Based on the systematic review method, specific documents were identified and bibliometric analysis and synthesis of the information found in the documents with reference to dropouts are considered. The documents identified are articles, reports, theses, dissertation, reference books, and National Educational Policy 2020. The dropout is one of the research area in abroad countries, but we have very less researches on the dropouts at higher education level. In the first decade, in the beginning, we have studies of dropouts at primary education level, secondary education level, but at higher education level, we have very less studies. So the four determinants of the dropouts are conceptualized as individual determinants. The variables associated with this determinant are students' personality, personal environment that has direct influence on the decision to leave the study process unfinished. The variables are age, gender, marital status, position in the number of siblings, health problems, family environment, family and personal obligations, motivations in relation to the teaching and learning process, self-regulation, and time management. The socioeconomic determinants are variables related to the determinant are employment, situation, economic, income of the family, and economic dependence. Next. Academic determinants are related to the teaching and learning process both in previous levels of education and in higher education that may lead students to drop out. Teaching qualification, levels of satisfaction with academic programs, pedagogical practices, and all these are the variables associated with this academic determinant. Institutional determinants are, it refers to all characteristics of higher education institutions that allow holistic development of learner through learning process. Institutional policies, pedagogical resources, infrastructure, funding services, levels of interaction between teachers and students. Next. So these are the four determinants, and the consequences of the dropouts in higher education are usually varied and have long-term repercussions on various difficulties in terms of their work performance. For family, the student's dropout is related to some cost due to expenses were incurred to cover the studies which will never be recovered. Change in family future conditions, both in educational and socioeconomic aspects. In case of higher education institutions, dropout affect quality conditions of their programs, reputation of the institution, as well as impacting the terms of student environment, since dropout represent an opportunity cost that leads to the loss of financial support. In case of dropping out and can lead to financial as well as social loss. In case of country, the dropping out can lead to the financial as well as social loss. Students dropouts represent the damage to the resources made available by them. Students who do not graduate in time when they receive public funding consume valuable fiscal resources, which in many cases are not recoverable. Impossible to improve the average income of population, productivity of economy, consolidate democracy, and reduce the crime. In brief, the student dropout in higher education can slow down the development and social transformation sought to be by implementing public policies related to access to higher education, hence important of its prevention and mitigation. Our National Education Policy 2020 is very much responsible to prevent the dropouts at all levels of education. The policy envisions the following key changes to current systems. I have identified those who are related to the dropouts. Establishment of multidisciplinary universities and colleges, moving towards multidisciplinary undergraduate education, revamping curriculum, student-centric pedagogy, assessment, student support, reaffirming the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership, light but tight regulation by single regulator for higher education, increase access, equity, and inclusion. So these are the key changes which are identified by the NEP 2020. Instead, Part 4 of this National Education Policy states the institutional restructuring and consolidation. By 2040, all higher education institutions shall aim to become multidisciplinary institutions, each of which will aim to have 3,000 or more students. So this is one of the recommendation of this NEP 2020. The aim will be increased to gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational education, from 26.3 to 50% by 2035. Growth will be in both public and private institutions, with a strong emphasis on developing a large number of outstanding public institutions to access all students. University will mean a multidisciplinary institution of higher learning that offers undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community engagements to attract all students. HEI will support other HEIs in their development, community engagement, and services, contribution to various fields of practice, faculty development for the higher education system, and support to school education. Institution will have the option to run open defense learning, ODL, and online programs provided they are accredited to do so. The overall higher education sector will aim to be an integrated higher education system, including professional and vocational education. The present complex nomenclature of HEIs in the country, such as deemed to be university, so this is not directly related to the dropout. Towards more holistic and multidisciplinary education. A holistic and multidisciplinary education will aim to develop all capacities of human beings, intellectual, aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral in an integrated manner. So for the holistic development of the learners. Such holistic education shall be in long term the approach of all undergraduate programs, including those in professional, technical, and vocational discipline. Imaginative and flexible curricular structure will enable creative combinations of disciplines for study and will offer multiple entry and exit patterns. So multiple entry and exit points. This is one of the important recommendations to reduce the dropout. Curricula of all HEIs shall have include credit-based courses and projects in the areas of community engagement and services, environmental education, and value-based education. The undergraduate degree will be either 3 or 4 year duration, it is for the multiple exit and entry. Again, one of the main recommendations of this policy is academic bank credit shall be established. Now, all universities have started this academic bank of credit. So this is also one of the main recommendation of this policy. The 4-year program may also lead to degree with research if the students completes a rigorous research project in their major areas of study as specified by the HEIs. Student activity and participation. So this is directly related to the to minimize the dropouts. Plenty of opportunities for participation in sports, culture, art clubs, eco clubs, activity clubs, community service project, etc. That means revamping NSS, NCC sections. In every education institution, there shall be counseling system for handling stress and emotional adjustment. Dr. Sudhakar sir also has mentioned about humanization of the university education. So I think this point is related to the humanization of the education, higher education. Increasing hostel facilities as needed. All HES will ensure quality medical facilities for all students in their institution. Financial support for students. Efforts will be made to incentivize the merit of students belonging to SC, ST, OBC, and other socially, economically disadvantaged groups. Private HEIs will be encouraged to offer larger number of free ships and scholarship to their students to encourage and to minimize the dropouts. Motivated, energized, and capable faculty. All HEIs, because the faculty is one of the support system to minimize the dropout. All HEIs will be equipped with basic infrastructure and facilities, including clean drinking water, clean working toilets, blackboards, offices, teaching supplies, libraries, labs, and pleasant classroom spaces and campuses. Every classroom shall have access to the latest educational technology that enables better learning experiences. HEIs will have clearly defined, independent, and transparent processes and criteria for faculty recruitment. Equity and inclusion in higher education. Actions that are specific to higher education shall be adopted by all government and HES. Steps to be taken by government. I think Isave madam has also mentioned this. Earmark suitable government funds for the education of SCDGS. Set clear targets for higher GR for SCDH. Enhance gender balance in admissions to HEIs. Enhance access by establishing more high quality HEIs in aspirational districts and special education zones. Develop and support high quality HEIs that teach in local Indian language and bilingually. Provide more financial assistance and scholarship to SCDs in both public and private HEIs. Conduct outreach program on higher education opportunities and scholarship among SCDGs. Develop and support technology tools for better participation and learning outcomes. Steps to be taken by the government. Mitigate opportunity cost and fees for pursuing higher education. Provide more financial assistance and scholarship. Conduct outreach on higher education opportunities and scholarships. Make admission process more inclusive. Make curriculum more inclusive. Increase employability potential of higher education programs. Develop more degree courses taught in Indian languages and bilingually. Ensure all buildings and facilities are wheelchair accessible and disabled friendly. Develop bridge courses for students that come from disadvantaged educational backgrounds. Provide socio-economical and academic support and mentoring. Ensure sensitization of faculty, counselor, and students on gender identification issue and its inclusion in all aspects of HEIs, including curricula. Strictly enhance all no discrimination and anti-harassment rules. Develop institutional development plans that contain specific plans for action on increasing participation from SCDGs. So this is about the vocational education. Vocational education will be integrated into all school and higher education institutions in phased manner over the next decade. So I hope, so these are the major recommendations in the NEP 2020. I hope that if NEP 2020 is implemented with its vision, and if the key changes which are mentioned in NEP 2020 are considered seriously, dropout at tertiary level will be minimized and reduced. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear madam. Thank you for this wonderful presentation.